What has one cylinder, 349 cc's of displacement, and just over 20 horsepower? The answer is Royal Enfield's Hunter 350. Another question to consider is one cylinder, 349 cc's, and 20 horsepower enough? Well, we'll get into that question a little bit later in the video. Come with me on my first ride of the Hunter 350 and check it out. This past winter, Royal Enfield's demo tour was in San Diego. The Hunter 350 was one of the new motorcycles I was able to take out on a demo run. Royal Enfield's headquarters is based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so it's not hard to imagine why they'd want to be in Southern California. Let's take a look at the bike. I rode this one with the red and black paint scheme. They call it Rebel Red. I like the styling of the bike, with most everything blacked out. The engine, the exhaust, the wheels, the frame, and the headlight. Then you get a nice splash of color on the tank. That means there's no chrome to polish, and that's alright with me. Royal Enfield offers 6 different paint color schemes for the Hunter. I like that the company does this. Even though the color options only change on the tank and a bit on the side covers, it's good that you get a choice. I find it boring when motorcycle manufacturers only offer 1 or 2 color options, and they're usually kind of on the boring side. I'm looking at you, Kawasaki. Kawasaki went the Henry Ford route with their W800. You can have any color you want as long as it's black. They only offer 1 paint scheme. Okay, technically the scheme is black and blue, but it's the only choice you get. Let's go over the specs of the Hunter 350. The single-cylinder 349cc engine puts out just a hair over 20 horsepower and has just a hair under 20 foot-pounds of torque. It's air and oil cooled, so no coolant and antifreeze to mess about with. The engine puts its power to the wheels via a 5-speed transmission and a chain final drive. Seat height is just over 31 inches. With my 30-inch inseam, I had no trouble throwing a leg over and getting my feet on the ground. The reach to the handlebars felt good, and the foot peg placement is consistent with a standard motorcycle. Royal Enfield's website specs this motorcycle as weighing 399 pounds, with 90% fuel and oil. I'm not exactly sure why they felt the need to give the weight that way. The only thing I can think of is that they wanted to publish that it was under 400 pounds. If you had it fully fueled up, that would push it over the 400-pound threshold. 399, or let's just call it 400 pounds, does sound kind of heavy for a bike like this, but when I was riding it, it did feel like a light bike. I don't think the weight is a negative factor with this motorcycle. It was easy to handle at all speeds. The fuel tank holds just under 3.5 gallons of gas. Not a huge amount, but definitely enough to get you around. The Hunter 350 has dual-channel ABS with a 300mm disc up front and a 270mm disc in the back. They're both by Bree, which is made by Brembo, and they worked good. Both the front and rear wheels are 17-inch cast alloys, and they run tubeless tires. Suspension up front is via a 41mm fork, giving 130 millimeters of travel. In back, you get dual shocks that have adjustable preload and give 90 millimeters of travel. There's nothing amazing about the suspension, but it does get the job done for this bike. The instruments are a cool retro-styled analog speedometer that sweeps around a digital readout. You don't get a tachometer, but I don't think you're gonna miss it. What you do get is a fuel gauge and a gear position indicator. That's pretty nice and will keep you from having to remember to count your shifts or having to remember to reset the trip odometer every time you fill up. Another thing I like is you do get a USB power port on the left-hand controls. That's convenient. That's a must for most riders, as using your phone as a GPS is pretty common. I use my phone as a speedometer on my project motorcycle. I really need to figure out a way to keep it charged while I do that. I can appreciate that Royal Enfield gave the Hunter a USB power port as stock. If you're still watching, I hope that means you're enjoying this video. If you do, would you please give this video a like and help me grow the channel by subscribing? It would really boost my standings with the YouTube algorithm overlords. The price of the Hunter 350 is one of its plus points. Depending on the color scheme you go with, the MSRP is around $4,000 to $4,200. For a brand new motorcycle, it doesn't get much more affordable than that. And the bike comes with a 3-year manufacturer's warranty. Royal Enfield offers accessories you can get to suit your riding style and needs. Everything from engine guards to different seats. My favorites are probably the tinted fly screen and the engine guards. So let's get back to the question. Is one cylinder, 349 cc's and 20 horsepower enough? Well, I'd have to say, for some riders, absolutely. If somebody is looking for an approachable motorcycle that's easy to ride and they're not planning to ride on the freeways, this would be a great bike. Look, the Hunter 350 is not a fast motorcycle. You may have noticed how much I've been trailing behind the 650 Royal Enfields when they twist their throttles. But the thing is, this isn't supposed to be a fast motorcycle. It's supposed to be a fun motorcycle. And I think Royal Enfield has checked that box. I've found that this thing is loads of fun on these side streets. I bet it would be great for 2-lane country highways. What's more, there's not one thing intimidating about this motorcycle. So I think it would be great for anybody who's looking for their first bike. Or it'd even be a great second motorcycle if you're looking to just buzz around town. Let me know what you think of Royal Enfield's Hunter 350. If the demo tour comes to your area, I definitely recommend you take one for a spin. Thanks for watching.